Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and welcome to episode 123 of Direwolf20's Let's Play series. The last couple episodes I've just been getting as defended as possible around different areas. I built a nifty underwater base, which we can go take a visit to real quick to check on. And as soon as we show up here, we've got some nifty stuff that makes this base kind of come alive, build some walls, clear out the water. Within a few seconds we should have this whole thing up and running again. And we also of course have access to our ME system here. Might take a few seconds for this thing to come online, but otherwise we've got a pretty nifty spot. And of course we have an emergency escape route set up here that we can just jump down. We've also got this nifty area set up for sending to a storage area, and then finally we have the escape portal here that leads to right here. Nice. So lots of cool stuff there. We've also gotten a little bit of magic preparation. So I have some magical abilities by way of the Witch's Hand to allow me to teleport to spots. And I can even shift click to teleport out. And we also set up a nifty little quantum chamber here. You can see, depending on how you're looking at it, whether or not it actually exists in the world. Pretty cool stuff. Had some fun with QCraft, but unfortunately I ran into a bit of a bug. I don't know what happened, but it seems to me like these blocks lost their quantum entangled state because no longer are they responding to the redstone signal I got. So I'm kind of bummed about that. I'm going to have to check with Dan and see if I did something wrong there. But long story short, it's still a pretty nifty, area there. Might use the quantum entangled features for another thing or two I have in mind. Today's episode, though, I would like to build a little bit more towards the defense of this base. What I'm thinking is I would like to be able to activate a defense system in the event that we find any mobs in our base. The only downside of that, of course, is going to be how can we detect when there's mobs in our base. I don't want it to be a manual system that, like, hey, all of a sudden some Endermen showed up, I need to go find a switch and flip it. That would be a little bit too slow, and they might be able to pull off quite a few shenanigans before they are taken care of by that lever. So there's a couple things I need to do. A, I need to automatically detect the presence of enemies, and B, I need to make sure I, the player, am aware of the fact that enemies are here, and then finally C, I need to deal with them in some way, shape, or form. So let's get started working. I think the first thing we'll work on is pretty much in order that I just listed everything. So let's get a way to detect when there's enemies in the base. For that, I can use a block that we've checked out pretty semi-recently. It's called the Universal Sensor. Dun dun! Also, am I having power issues or something? My nuclear reactor might be offline again. And if that's the case, that would explain... Yes, we are out of power. Haha, I bet my nuclear reactor died. I should really tie in my uber power thing here. Like, the nuclear reactor is great, but I never did get around to automating it so that it would pull out depleted uranium and fill it up with new uranium blocks. What I think I'll do is grab a quick... That's why things are flickering here. Can I hit a tesseract real quick? Oh man, we don't have any crafted. Curses. There must be one handy somewhere. You know what I'll do is I will switch this. I'm going to temporarily switch this guy to receive energy. I'm going to hit him to the high power frequency, and then he should really quickly start filling up. He, of course, has to now fill up all the machines that are weak on power, so he's probably filling up our batteries in the basement and whatnot. Yeah, see? The AE system battery is getting recharged. I'm going to make a new tesseract here, just so I can, in the event that, let's activate this guy. Make ourselves a tesseract now that we have the power to do so. What I'm thinking is, and this might be a cool plan in the interim while I'm working on this other piece, is also to get it so that we have a backup power system. We'll see. For now, I just want to get this thing up and running. So you're running there. Let me get this tesseract made, and then we will be back in just a minute to get working on that sensor system that I was talking about. Alright, so for a temporary solution here, I'm going to switch this guy back. So let's actually set him up like this. I'm going to set him to send main power. And then I know I've got a stone brick cover here. This might actually be a little tricky to find a solution to. Where does this go out to? This probably comes in from here. How about on the back? Can I sneak in there? Wow, everything's in place. I'm using all sides of this block, aren't I? Goodness. Alright. Let's do this. I got an idea. If I were to place this guy right here, tesseract, and I'm going to say receiving energy from high power, go. This thing should start. There we go, nice. Now it's back up and running. That'll get our base nice and healthy once again. Alright, so now that the base is working, I can go ahead and rely on you. Let's get ourselves the sensor I wanted. So this is going to be a pretty neat build, I think, when all's said and done. I need to get myself a printed circuit board. Do I have the resources for that by chance? Oh, nice. I do. And what else do I need? The ender plant plastic. Ender plant seeds, I can get 5 of those pretty handily and easily. I think this guy should still be set up to export plastics. If that's the case, it should just need to go in like that. Cool. There we go. They're getting crafted. And there we are. Universal sensor. And I should probably get some pipes, or whatever they're called. Tubes? Nice. So this guy, I believe, can only have access to the weaker power system in Pneumaticraft, so let's jump down there and see where that cutoff exists. Because I know I've got some high power in one spot, and then it breaks off into some lower power. So those are the advanced tubes here. And then these are all advanced tubes. Do I really have all advanced tubes everywhere? Could have sworn I had a spot where it was... Oh, I see. They're advanced tubes still, but they're probably limiting the pressure with this pressure regulator. So this should only have... Yeah. So around here somewhere might not be a terrible spot for this. Or I could run these tubes off. I should get more advanced tubes then instead of regular. I'll trade you. And then I kind of want to put this in the middle of my base somewhere that's like a nice central point. And if I'm correct in this, let's see, where's my... There we go. This is kind of a nice center room. I mean, it's not the exact center, but it's pretty darn close. So, I'd like to build it in here, but I might wind up building it under here. Or I could build it somewhere down there, but I think underneath this area would be cool. So let's tap into this line. It's kind of a far distance, though. Let me figure out how I want to run this, and I'll be right back. Alright guys, just off camera there, did a little bit of crafting. Also encountered a fun little bug that completely crashed my world and destroyed it for a minute. When you make advanced pressure tubes and you need to put 4 pressure chambers in there, don't put any less than 4, otherwise your world will crash. That's something to avoid. Alright, so, I also did this. Made a nice little platform right underneath this room, and set up a connection here. I haven't connected it actually to the pressure tube system yet, but we're going to do that now. So, first things first, let's connect this guy here, and then we're going to want to connect this thing to here. And this thing should now, as you can see, has a little bit of a range area. It doesn't have much, but enough. I wonder if there's a way to, I guess not sort of placing it or doing something in the interface maybe. But you can see the pressure is building up in there, so that's good. That's step 1. Step 2, we're going to want a couple upgrades for this thing. So we're definitely going to want range upgrades. And we're also going to want the entity tracker upgrade. Cool. So let's get our fermented spider eye. A little bit of sugar. And there we go. So we'll get the entity tracker and then the range upgrade. Now, do I have the way to make bows in here? I do. Cool. Did I teach this thing how to make range upgrades? I should. Should be in here somewhere. There it is. Now I can make as many as I want. I'm going to start off with something like, now the reason, of course, that I'm doing it this way is because I want to make many of these, right? So let's do range upgrades. I'm going to start with 30 and see how that does. So that should be a pretty quick crafting process, in theory. Oh, wait, you know what? It does need to manually make the string, which will be a little bit slow. So I'll come back in a minute when that's done. You know what? I can probably just set up for now. I can put the mob guy in there. So let's put this in. We'll put the entity tracker in, and we'll toggle this, not to check for a player doing something, but for stuff in range. Now back at my underwater base, I'm looking for a player to be nearby. One of the variables that you can use here, and there it is, there's a list of them. Nice. You can actually specifically look for certain people or types of things, or you can look for pretty much almost anything. So I think if I looked for living, it would probably detect me, the player. And we're going to actually set this up so that he emits. So you can see he is detecting me, the player. So you can see the range on this thing is probably like right here. That's where the boundary was. So I don't want to do living. I'm pretty sure I'm going to want to do mob. And that should detect any monsters in the immediate area. Cool. All right. Let's see how our range upgrades are doing. So far, 23. I'll grab them. 24. So I want to actually throw these in here and then real quick look outside and see what kind of... Now, it's kind of hard to see against the black background, but it's actually pretty darn close. You can see it now a little bit better. It's almost encompassing our whole base, so 30 might have been a really good guess. I was thinking I might need closer to a stack, but 30 seems like not a bad guess. So let's throw the remaining 6 in there and see if that gets us what we need. Does that encompass the entire base? Oh, it's like just barely encompassing the entire base. Look at that. Like I'm missing like a handful of blocks. I guess I don't want it to fire when it detects the wither in my wither spawning area. So I was about to say let's expand this, but that actually is perfect because I do not want it to fire off when it detects the wither. Not that it would hurt because what I'm going to set up is basically going to be an auto kill, but I don't want it to detect the wither, so I think I might leave it like that. So is it emitting a redstone signal right now? It is not. Cool. I like that. Now if I were to do something like turn on my mob farm. So let's do that real quick. Let's activate the spawner. What's in there? Bats. All right. Well, I don't even know if their count is. Let's change the mob selector to something interesting, like Enderman. I could always use more Ender Pearls. Okay. So the spawner should be on, and they should start showing up shortly, in theory. I think it has a 10-second delay or so. I'm not sure if that's correct. Come on, Enderman, spawn. Oh, there they are. Just as I went to check, they start showing up. So yeah, you can see when the Endermen are there, the alloy wire is on, and then when they get killed, it should switch off. Nice. I like it. There we go. So you can see it's toggling on and off. Perfect. So this is a way to automatically detect when there's any enemies nearby. Cool. Next step for this should be, I'm going to turn the spawner off here. We don't need any more Endermen showing up. Let's build the following. Dun, 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 dun. So now that we are able to detect when guys are here, let's build something to alert us to their presence. I'm going to make a howler alarm. This thing comes from the nuclear control mod, and it's actually not too hard to make. I just need a little bit more wood. Let me make a handful of these, and I'll be right back. So here we go, howler alarm. This thing's pretty nifty. I'm going to snag just a lever here and show you what it does. It's really a simple device. It comes from the nuclear control mod, and it's meant to kind of alert you in the event that your nuclear reactor is getting a little bit out of hand in terms of heat level. Typically it would be something like, hey, I've got this remote thermal monitor here, and if your heat goes above 1,000 and it emits its redstone signal, which it's currently doing, we could have attached a howler alarm here so that I, the player, would be notified that things were getting a little hot down there. But there's some pretty cool stuff you can do with it. First off, most sounds in Minecraft are only available to be heard right near the player. The howler alarm has a nifty little slider bar, and you can actually adjust how far away you can hear sounds. So if we flip this on at the level of 64 and get ready for an alarm, you can actually hear this from like 64 blocks away or so. I guess that's a radius, I want to say, because I'm about 32 blocks probably now. Well, let's see. Where am I at? 31? Well, that's pretty darn close to 64, yeah. I mean, I can still hear it all the way here at 44. Alright, so that is a radius, not a diameter. Cool. So, first off, you can see that you can get that range up there. You can even get it up pretty far if you want. I think 64 should be a good number, though. Yeah, definitely 64 should be sufficient. Of course, we have two options here. Haha, that's cool. Kind of like the howler alarm option, though. Nice. So we're going to hook this up so that we get this howler alarm whenever there's a mob nearby. Sound cool? So to test this, let's do the following. I'm going to pop this guy right here. And what this should do is when there's a mob nearby, we get the alarm action going on. So let's turn on the spawner, and I'm going to turn off the grinders for a minute so that the Endermen stick around for a few seconds, and we'll make sure that we get the alarm sound going. Oh boy, Enderman in the base. Kill them! Turn off the spawner. Remember, the grinders take about 10 seconds to reactivate. Oh, that's cool. That's like pretty exact too. Like the minute they're gone, the alarm turns off. That's really neat. I think that's awesome. All right, so that's step 2 in the process. Next up, I'd like to automatically kill any mobs that happen to be, getting in my way. So let's see. I wouldn't mind setting up another interdiction matrix. So I've got one here meant to kill the wither, right? But I wouldn't mind another one set up to kill anything that interacts in the base. Now, obviously, I wouldn't want to leave this on full time because the amount of power it would use to cover my entire base would be borderline obscene. But hopefully, and I'm not sure how many range upgrades we have in here. Alright, so the first thing I'll probably want to do is make an interdiction matrix. So let's get one of these guys set up. So the interdiction matrix, probably not too hard to make. We're going to need a vanilla ender chest. I think that's something that I've actually never really ever used in Minecraft. Believe it or not. Vanilla ender chest. Don't think I've ever used it. Alright, shock modules, 1, 2, 3. That should get me the interdiction matrix. Now the real question is, will this thing be able to accept power from the existing setup that we have? Hopefully, yes. So let's see. He doesn't seem to be reaching, so what's the radius or the range on this thing? Might need to bump it up a little bit. Oh, you know what? The capacitor's here. It's got a speed module. I don't know the range on this thing. Let's see. Range is 15 blocks. So from here to here is close to 15. From here to here is a little bit more. So I might want to move the capacitor. So let me do that real quick. I'm going to snag this guy. Get my hammer. And there we go. Now if I pop this thing down like right about, I'd say, that might not be a terrible spot. And activate him. Will he be able to hit everything? Nice. Yes, he can. Good. That's ideal. So now I only have to create a few range upgrades for this, because I think those are not terribly expensive, but a little bit. Let's see. I believe it's the scale upgrades I'll have to use from MFFS. Translation scale modules. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. I'm going to want a lot of these, actually. So hopefully I've got a lot of steel handy. How much steel do I have at the moment? Oh, I am out of power. I better get out of here before I fall to my death. Yeah, my resonant flux capacitor is toast. You can. I always tell them about its power when I take my thing out of my inventory here, and I have 0 power left. Like, it's actually draining power out of this thing to allow me to fly at the moment. Alright, I wanted to check on steel. Plenty. Alright, I'll be back in a minute once this finishes charging. I think the only thing I want to test before I come back is, will this thing's range be sufficient? Pretty sure it's the scale module. Range 29. Look at that. Sweet. So now we're getting power into our interdiction matrix. Not sure exactly how much power is going to be required here. I'm also wondering, you're draining, well, a pretty good amount. This thing's on, right? Yeah, he's driving power pretty quickly. Oh, you know what? My speed upgrades, I forgot to put them back in. That'll do it. Yeah, now we're good. Cool. Alright, we will be back in a minute when I'm ready to get the next tarp built. Alright, so the next thing I want to do... Oh, there's a white mage down there. Is that triggering my alarm? No. Nice. So I guess this guy isn't considered a mob. He would probably trigger entity living, but not mob. Well, that's good to know. Alright, I want to make some good stuff. Let's see. I want an anti-friendly and an anti-hostile module. The reason I want both is basically... oh, I needed some more of these. I'm not sure if every mob is really considered, you know, friendly versus hostile. Do I have any pork chops? I do. So just to cover all my bases, in the event that, you know, something shows up that's considered friendly. Now this will, by the way, probably target my sheep that's here, but I'm not too worried about him. I've got plenty of wool at this point, and if I needed to, I could come up with a crazy wool machine and make sure it's outside the boundary. But for now, we're going to go ahead and install the anti-friendly module as well. So anti-hostile should absolutely work, and we're going to test this right now. Now the only thing I really need to test in my anti-hostile module here is the range. So I'm going to throw, your range at the moment is 27 blocks. And this guy's range, does it actually tell me the range anywhere on here? I don't think so. I'm going to say it's like 30 something. So if I really want to cover my whole base, I should probably make a few more scale upgrades. Let's make it 32 just to cover our bases. That sounds like a plan. So I'm definitely going to want a few more focus try, and that should absolutely be plenty. Yeah, 35 sounds ideal. All right, so here's what I'm going to do to test this. In the event that any hostile entity enters my base, I haven't filled in like the friendly one yet, but we're going to turn off our grinders and activate the spawner. This should cause Enderman to spawn, which will then turn on that interdiction matrix, which would then kill the Enderman for us. Let's see what happens. Come on, Enderman spawn. Let's go. Nice. And they're dead. See how they're killed instantly? And the grinders are off. It's actually my interdiction matrix doing that. That is cool. So you can see it's activated at the moment and it's killing things. Nice. Now it's off. Oh, that is cool. That is really cool. Alright, let's turn off our spawner. That's cool. And you can see that they're absolutely being killed by the interdiction matrix because they're dropping items instead of the items going into the grinder and then into the AE system. So the fact that those ender pearls are there definitely indicates to me that our detection system is working beautifully. So now we have a way to detect whenever any kind of enemy gets anywhere near my base. It's got a pretty good radius, as we saw. Just to show you guys again, if I take this out and put it back in, we should see a pretty nice coverage of our whole base area. I did pick a pretty good middle spot too, which is nice. The only thing it's not going to detect is the wither, because I don't want that alarm going off every time a wither spawns, just because I need more, power down here, right? So this is actually almost low, so our wither should be spawning any moment, as a matter of fact. Let's see, this guy is not really outputting much. Cool. So yeah, once this thing drops a little bit lower, I think we'll actually see, yeah, the redstone signal is still emitting. But the wither should spawn any moment now, and we'll just see for sure that it doesn't trigger the alarm. It shouldn't. So there we go. We've got that going, and I think our wither activation should be happening. Yep, the timer's running for 60 seconds. We'll have a wither. And you'll notice that the wither is now spawning, as expected, and you'll see also that, along with the wither spawning, we're going to wind up not having the howler alarm go off. Cool. So I think the last piece of this will be to install the anti-friendly module, just in case. And the only thing I'm going to do is manually activate this for a minute, and that should clear out my sheep. Good. That's what I would have expected to happen. This will also, by the way, erase, or actually, yeah, it might have already erased any Ars Magica mobs that happen to be nearby. If I really wanted to be more concerned about the Ars Magica mobs, by the way, I could do an anti-spawn module, which I think just prevents mobs from spawning in a specific region. So if I left this on, and it will of course require a large amount of power, which I don't like to do with MFFS because sometimes it's a little bit funny the way it distributes power across, but you can see I wound up throwing a stack of speed modules in there. I just decided why not. I don't know really how much power this interdiction matrix is going to draw, and I really want to make sure that if we ever run into any trouble with Enderman, that it'll be safe and it'll help us protect our base. So I think, long story short, we should have a pretty solid defense system here. Any Endermen who show up, instantly killed. I like it. Alright guys, and with that, I feel like it's a pretty good wrapping up point for the episode. I know we're just a minute or two short of that 30-minute mark that we usually like to hit, but, I mean, it's just, like I usually say, it is actually a good wrapping up point. So, for now, Direwolf20 signing off. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and take it easy!